Hi, it's Kirith here, and we need to talk about the Motorsport UK F3 Championship on iRacing. And I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts about the content of this video. Now, I've been racing the championship for a number of months now. We're about to hit round 5, and there's been some really strange goings on. And finally, I've had a look into it, done a bit of investigation, analysed the replays, and again, I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts, especially if you're racing in this championship, and you've also been concerned by some of the goings on. So this is the incident that sparked off for me, get turned into there, and in iRacing, because of the damage model, that's the end of the race. You have to get towed back to the pits, it takes about 3 minutes, race is long gone. So I wanted to understand how this had happened and were there any reasons behind it, because I've seen a lot of this kind of stuff in the championship, not only to me but to other drivers as well. So I'm in 3rd place at the moment, we're in lap 8 of a 25-minute race, doing pretty well, gaining on 2nd place, we're having a good battle, that's the red car there, ahead, and coming up against some back markers now, so lapping some back markers. You can see the guy in 2nd place goes round the outside of the back marker, neatly done, and I think I'm going to do the same thing, take the outside line around Curva Grande, and seemingly just get turned into there. We'll have a look at the crash again because the damage model is something else, it's very special. But it's just incredibly frustrating to have practiced for an hour, 50 minutes qualifying, 8 laps into the race, 25-minute race, and have that happen. So I wanted to look at the back marker in question. You can see here it's Patrick O'Donovan, and he's going side by side with Joe Turner McMullen, who's winning the race at the moment. He's in P1, very fast driver, has some very good racing with him, and Patrick, for some reason, is going side by side, seems to let him pass. Now, the guy in the green car is also another back marker, but the person behind him, Giles Thompson, he's in 2nd place. That's where the front of the actual race is. You see Patrick goes wide here. Giles also has a bit of moment. I'm just coming through now. Turn 2 there in the background. So Patrick seems to be slowing down. Lets Giles through. And I just wanted to look at this. Was there some kind of mistake? Could he not see me? But every time I look at it, to me, it just seems like a blatant turn in and just destroying my race and destroying his race. But strangely enough, he tries to get the car going again. I think he tries to set off in the kind of 2 wheels he's got going, which isn't going to work. So that actually gave me an idea. I thought maybe this guy is actually really inexperienced, even though he is a card-carrying Motorsport UK driver and racing in the real world against real people in some form of motorsport. So I had a look through the replay, so you can do that on iRacing. It's actually quite a powerful replay tool. And this is on lap 4, so it's quite a number of laps earlier actually, before we had our coming together. And Patrick's cut the 2nd chicane, comes back on the track, comes across the track and runs into the guy behind him, a few pieces of contact, and actually I think he's going to lose his wheel here. Yeah, the wheel comes off. So on lap 4 he's actually already had to go into the pit. So we're going to follow Ian Duggan here. Ian's in 5th place, lap 10 for Ian at the head of the race. Very good race for Ian, has some really good battles with him. Patrick comes back onto the track, we'll switch to Patrick's view. It's only lap 7 for him, so he's already a number of laps behind, and you know, he's a number of laps behind this race at the front of the grid, and for some reason going defensive here, then swerving across there, and Ian has a bit of a moment, hits the barrier, and I fully sympathise with Ian because it's very unnerving to have a back marker like that swerving across the roads, and I just don't think it should be the case in this championship. We're going to have a look at another example here. Robin Webb, Patrick kind of cuts a chicane again, Robin gets the overtake done, position 8, lap 11, so we're talking kind of the front of the race. He's got past him, or has he? Not quite, because again there's more contact, and I just don't understand it. I don't understand if it's malicious or kind of negligent, but it just seems really strange to me. Actually, the more I looked at these replays, the more I couldn't work out why this is happening, because we're all meant to be racing drivers here, real world racing drivers, racing with real people in our regular series. So I find it very surprising. Even the car's having a bit of a moment now, kind of self-combusting. And it's not just getting past back markers, it's been kind of a theme of the championship for me, that the sound of the driving has been quite, I think disrespectful is the best word. So we're going to look at an example here. It's Silverstone, first race of the season, the very last lap. So there's only about 3 corners to go of this 25-minute race. I've just overtaken for 6th position, being fairly defensive here and safe, and out of nowhere get smashed a few times. In fact, I got hit so many times, including that one there, that I was given penalty points which disqualified me from the race. And we're literally at the last corner. The finish line is about 20 metres away, just here. And this was actually my third ever race in iRacing. Had really high hopes for iRacing, official Motorsport UK Championship, and the standard has just, it hasn't quite been there. We can have a look from the car behind from Wilsonelli. Goes for this gap here that never really existed, and again, that's the end of the race. Now, I have had some good racing in the championship against the likes of James Fremont, Molly Dodd, Joe Turner McMullen. Some very fast drivers in here, some very respectful drivers, but I think it's just something is not quite right with the balance at the moment. Now, I wanted to have a look if there was a reason why Wilsonelli had done that move, and again, he got punted here from behind in the corner. Maybe he thought it was me. There's another incident here, so this is Peter Spanner in third place. Very good position, lap 5. Very tricky part of the track under no pressure in the F3 because braking as you're turning, and hits Wilsonelli there. So Wilsonelli's been in the wars in this race, and I can kind of see why it bubbled over for him maybe. But this is the next race at Spa. I'm in second place, so again, feeling good about my pace. I think there's about 30 drivers in this race. We've all waited 2 weeks for the next round championship. And Will's in last place, I'm in second place. Again, getting past the back marker, comes across me here, and I have a bit of a moment, a bit like Ian Duggan in the Monza race. And I just think for a Motorsport UK F3 Championship, where there's a fully fledged point system, it's not cheap because you've got to buy all the tracks, you've got to buy the car in iRacing, there's an actual cost to this, that it just doesn't seem quite right that we're battling with back markers in this way, even when they're not involved in the points for that race. They're not in the same race basically. So yeah, it doesn't look great for me there, but again, a slightly irritating one. I did manage to hang on to second in that race. This is James Fremont. He's in first place, so he's ahead of me, and he's coming up to lap Wilsonelli. This is a little bit early in the race. Will's just gone wide. We lose a bit of signal here, and James gets the move done past the back marker, goes to turn in, and then the back marker pops up again on the inside. And the thing with iRacing is that contact, any kind of contact, can be absolutely terminal for your race. So it just seems to me that in an official Motorsport UK F3 Championship, where you have real-world F3 drivers in the championship, and everyone's racing for real, everyone's following codes of conduct on the racetrack, that we have sometimes, I think, really poor standards of driving and kind of driver respect. And it's a real shame because there are some really good drivers in the championship, drivers who are a lot faster than me. There's also drivers that I have good battles with, and we have a lot of respect for each other on track, and I enjoy racing with them, drivers that I otherwise wouldn't race with. But it's a real shame, and I'm not sure if I'm going to carry on with the championship because it's a big time commitment on a Monday, and I'm really enjoying the GT Sport live streams at the moment. Really enjoying the FIA Championship in GT Sport, and it just seems funny to me that the standard of driving in GT Sport and in the FIA Championship against people that I don't know is of a much higher standard than I'm seeing in this Motorsport UK Championship. So I've just put up some replays of that big crash at Monza. I know they're really satisfying to look at. The damage model is really good in iRacing, but I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on what's going on in this championship. If you're racing in GT Sport, you're racing in ACC, you're racing in iRacing, even if you're racing in this championship, just let me know what you think about it, or let me know if I'm at fault for any of the kind of comings together, because it's just not quite adding up for me in terms of the cost and the time commitment that usually means that everyone has a greater standard of respect because everyone's respecting each other's time and whatnot, and actually what's happening. I just can't quite work it out, to be honest. So that's it for this video. A bit more of a serious video than the ones I normally do. Be back on the GT Sport livestream soon. Would like to get into iRacing more generally in terms of the licence events and the like. So if you have any thoughts on races you'd like me to do, then let me know. But otherwise, until the next video, I will see you next time.